time. So thank you all for coming. This is the Community Planners Committee. And we're gonna take roll. Let's get people online. We did it quickly. So, all right, but before I take the roll, we do have to actually, there was a modification to the agenda. And I'll explain it. It was a late ad that came just after I sent out the original agenda, and that is item number, that's, if you got the amended agenda, it's item number 8, which is the Association of, for the City of La Jolla. They have asked for a request from us, for us to advise the mayor and city council against pursuing further legal action in the matter of the anti-SLAPP lawsuit involving the Association of the City of La Jolla due to anticipated taxpayer cost. So they're focusing on the cost that it would, for the taxpayers, because that affects all the city at large and the taxpayers at large. Otherwise, if this was just La Jolla, this is not something that CPC would take care of. So looking at this, I weighed whether to put it on, but felt that we need to be as inclusive and we need to have as many voices heard as possible. And this is the way that we hear our voices. So that's why I put it on there, but we do need to take a vote of whether we can continue or whether we will have it on there as an action item.
You want to take roll call first?
Huh?
You want to take roll call first?
Well, I guess so. I guess that reverses, huh? Yeah, okay, we'll do that and then we'll pop back over to doing the vote for that. So starting with roll call, please answer your here and who you are, your first name at least at minimum. Starting with Barrio Logan. Carmel Mountain Ranch. Carmel Valley.
I'm here, jumping in.
Encanto.
Kevin Page.
What do you have for item?
City Heights.
I'm joining virtually. This is Marcellus Anderson.
Thank you. Claremont.
No problem.
College area.
Robert, Montana.
Del Mar Mesa.
Kevin Bagley.
Downtown.
Bob Lake, present.
Eastern area.
Florida Revo.
Greater Golden Hill.
Here, Swearens, David Swearens.
Kearney Mesa. Kensington Talmadge.
David Moty.
La Jolla. Linda Vista.
Felicity Sanoski for Linda Vista.
Midway. Mira Mesa.
Oh, Gibbons from Merrimack.
Mission Beach. Mission Valley. Navajo.
Evan Sullivan.
Normal Heights.
Paul Coogan.
North Park. Ocean Beach.
Andrea Schlocker is here.
Old Town. Otay Mesa. Otay Mesa Nestor. Pacific Beach.
Here, Marcella Bothwell.
Peninsula. I thought I saw
Here.
her. Thank you. Rancho Bernardo.
Vicki Touchstone.
Rancho Penasquitos.
John Becker.
San Pasqual Lake Hodges. San Ysidro. Scripps Ranch, Victoria Labruzzo. Serra Mesa. Skyline Paradise Hills.
Here.
Southeastern. Tierra Santa.
Christian Wood here.
Torrey Hills. Torrey Pines.
Liz Schultz.
University.
Chris Nielsen, University.
And Uptown.
Matt Driver.
Okay, thank you all. All right, we're gonna go back to the amending of the item number 7. Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, 8. Item number 8. Yeah,
So given Madam Chair's explanation of the late amendment, I move that we accept item 8 as described.
All second.
second, okay. David and Moty said it. So just a brief description as well. Marlon and I went over the bylaws very quickly, and in order to amend this, we need to have 2/3 of the board here, right?
No, it's 2/3 of the entire
The
membership
entire membership
or everyone here.
everyone here unanimously has to add, vote to add it on in order for us to actually add an action item on. So, and that doesn't include those that don't normally come, like we do with the voting? Like-
So we have a quorum
Okay,
and the folks that are here presently
Okay.
in person and online would have to vote.
Okay.
To add this item.
okay, all right.
I just had a question. There are members who do not have standing voting status. Does it also include those in that total count?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because is this, if,
So then, yeah, we wouldn't allow them to vote because they don't have the voting status.
right,
Right.
but then you can't count them for being unanimous either then, right? They're just,
They're good, just
Not
not,
included.
yeah, they're the same.
okay, yeah. Okay, so if you don't have voting status, you need to abstain from the vote. Okay,
Would it be good to calculate 2/3?
What was someone who we voted last?
yeah, you had somebody last year, Great and Golden Hill, you had somebody here last month though, right? It wasn't you, but did you have a
No,
rep?
no, we've been represented by you.
Okay, you're good, then you're good, you
Yeah,
can,
no, I'm not, I was
oh,
asking
you're just
myself, I
clearing,
was asking
okay,
the process
oh,
or how that vote counts, should unanimity not be achieved.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point, all right. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead then and start the vote. Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yeah.
City Heights,
Yes.
College Area,
Yes.
Del Mar Mesa,
yes,
Downtown,
Yes.
East Area,
Yes.
Greater Golden Hill,
Yes.
Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Yes.
Ocean Beach,
Yes.
Pacific Beach,
Yes. Yes.
Peninsula,
yes,
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch is yes. Skyline,
Yeah.
Tierra Santa,
Yes.
Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
University,
Yes.
Uptown.
Yes.
Okay, that's it, and that's unanimous, so we will go ahead with the agenda as it is now item number 8. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, thank you all for that vote. Next thing we're gonna do is go to non-agenda public comment. I'm gonna caution everyone that's in the public that this is 2 minutes. And that we do have to stick close to this because we have a limited amount of time tonight. So yes, if we could go ahead and start, if you'll come up front and you'll have 2 minutes and Leslie will let you know if your time is up. So thank you.
Okay, ready, begin.
Please.
I am Rita Javier, senior with existing medical condition and a victim of ceramic toxicity. Why did the city allow the location? Oh, wow. An operation of the Alvarez business is a residential zone neighborhood. It's a violation of California use and planning laws. California environmental and large use laws and CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act of 1976. City Code Enforcement referred to as ABCD.
It's time You may sit now.
Okay.
I am Cesar Javier. You are familiar with my face, my uniform. It's in our constitution. It's in our Bible. Green pasture beside the still water. That's how we should plan. The Constitution says justice for all. Sir Kensington Chair, you didn't allow us to join your meeting. We need justice. We need you to hear our voice. We are not hateful.
Time.
Thank you. We're gonna have to keep going. So is there any, another public comment? Yes, and we will get you online as well, just so you know that. We're following you online.
Thank you for the 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes, I have two short items. One is the community plan updates that went to the planning commission. Was happy to see a CPC representation with Victoria. What's happening with the two plan updates is just appalling. I think we're aware that the city is attempting to quadruple the number of housing units in the college area. This is a community with no fire station. My understanding is they have a 1.5 acre park. You normally have at least one community park, 15 acres, neighborhood park, 3 to 5 acres. They have a 1.5 acre park. Marlon maybe knows this for sure. I was told there's not even a swing set on a public park in the entire community. So this went to the planning commission. What was their response? One of the planning commissioners basically said, hey, we know the college area really doesn't have park space, but this isn't going to stand in the way of our adding more density in this plan. Yeah. So the planning commissioners are appointed by the mayor. I think if something needs reform, it's not necessarily the historic review process, it's the planning commission. How much time do I have left?
A minute.
A minute, okay. The second issue is the 30-foot coastal height limit. I actually met two of the people who helped pass that measure in 1972. They worked hard at it. They said it resulted in at least one divorce and one bankruptcy. After they passed it, the developer swatted so hard, it took them 2 or 3 more years to get it adopted. The property 30-foot height limit actually affects 8 communities, all the way from Nestor down by the border up to Torrey Pines, obviously including Pacific Beach, Point Loma, and so forth. The goal is not to let the beach area be walled off, but also to provide access to everyone. So is the city being beat up? No, the city just ignored the requirements to do a proper analysis. The appeals court judges found that in both ballot measures. Judges do not want to overturn ballot measures. Judges normally will not override the city, but their reports are done so poorly that they felt obligated to do it. That's why we're back. That's where we're back where we are now. If you want to talk about the height limit at any time, talk to me.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment, non-agenda item? Yes. Sorry. And we have on online. After Robert, we're gonna go on.
Great, thank you. Robert Montana from the college area. I wanted to thank this board for your support, and also thank the chair for her support. And the planning commission listened, and then promptly ignored us, and mocked us, and didn't say anything substantive in response to any comment made by a member of the public. It was actually quite appalling and totally ironic because we had a presentation at the prior meeting about the city wanting input from the community. They do not want input from the community. And I want to remind everybody, the Land Use and Housing Committee will meet on the 6th of November. And we anticipate that the update will be heard by that group and then forwarded on to the city council. They'll probably want to pass the plan update in the Christmas time lull when people are out of town, when people are busy. So I know that's a lot to ask, but if you can remain vigilant and continue to participate, I think the city needs us, all of us, because our agenda shows what's really happening citywide. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, we're gonna go online to Paul Jameson.
Hi there, I'm Paul Jameson. I'm in the Kensington Talmadge Planning Group area. Just a quick comment about resident input to community plan updates. We have the Mid-City Plan update happening in our neighborhood, and at the last Kentau Planners meeting, we had some board members say that only investors or homeowners in the community should be allowed to have input on the community plan update. This was in response to another board member who was very concerned that Hoover High School students were being included in feedback for the plan update. She said that only people who drive a car and can vote should have input on the plan. So I bring this up just because I've heard the same sentiment from the former chair of this board. Was it Wally Wolfeck was his name, who said that only renters should have input? And also in University City, where homeowners said that UCSD students shouldn't have a say or should have less of a say. But I've also been told that if renters want input on planning, they need to attend planning group meetings. That's just confusing to me. They're supposed to attend, but really their voices don't count. So I'd like to see this board take 2 action items at some point: affirm that all residents should be able to have input on their community plans, regardless of homeownership. Renters represent about half of the city. And also that we get some data on how the community planning groups have increased representation of renters and addressed demographic concerns as part of the community reform, community planning group reform. So as required by the city. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other public comment? Yes,
I
sir.
don't think that this is the right place, but I'm not sure whether if I need to declare as part of the communication at last Thursday's Historic Resources Board meeting. I spoke with representatives of both Save Our Heritage Organization and Mission Hills Heritage, each of which have submitted things today. I do not believe it impede my capacity to deliberate on the topic for this agenda item number 4.
Okay, agenda number 4. Okay.
Okay. Last month, we created an ad hoc committee to work on Zoom on the update to the land development code as decreed by the state of California. And apparently, the update never really got printed as we speak. Although I do have a copy of the summary that the state dropped onto the city. And it took me a whole damn weekend to go through this thing, and basically on every line, the comment is, read the actual text, because that's going. But when I ended up, when I went through this thing, it occurred to me that in all the years I've been involved in this stuff, which goes back to '96, never has one of our representatives from the county or the city up in Sacramento sent to the CPC a summary of what the hell they're proposing in Sacramento that affects us. So one of the recommendations is that we take this and we prepare a letter to each one of our representatives in Sacramento, telling them from here on out, would you please let us know with the full text of what you're proposing statewide that's going to affect the city of San Diego? So here's my notes and my copy on that thing, because all there is.
Thank you.
I didn't realize it wasn't out there, but that explains why I couldn't find the full text in the library on the computer in the library system. So now I know why it wasn't there.
Okay, thank you, Guy. Any other public comment that's not an agenda item? Okay, we are gonna go ahead and move forward, and our next item is approval of the minutes. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read through them, and we will start with well, first of all, are there any amendments to the? Or do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion?
I have a change.
You have a change?
So just on the present, but I wasn't actually present for last month's meeting, but Jeff Stevens from Mira Mesa was.
Change to Jeff Stevens. Okay, great. Okay, we have a motion to approve as amended.
Motion to approve as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Cool. The GI, how you spell that?
GIBBONS.
Yeah, GIBBONS. Okay, we'll go ahead and start then with the approval of the minutes. Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yeah.
Okay, City Heights.
I will abstain. I was absent.
Okay. College area.
Oh, yes,
Thanks for Delamar Mesa.
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. Downtown,
Abstain.
okay, eastern area,
Yes.
Greater Golden Hill,
Abstain, is not present and has not had the opportunity to review the minutes.
okay, Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Same.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Yes.
Ocean Beach.
Again, I stepped up.
Did Andrea step out? Yes, she did, okay. Otay Mesa? Otay Mesa.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Yes, I'm in.
Okay,
Oh, Andrew's back.
Andrew's back. Andrea, do you vote to pass the meeting minutes amended with a change, member's name change?
Yes.
Pacific Beach,
Yes, approve.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos, Scripps Ranch, yes. Skyline Paradise Hills. Guy? Meeting minutes?
Yes, yeah.
Thanks. Terrasana,
Abstain, not present.
Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
University,
Yes.
Uptown,
Yes.
okay, those pass.
Hi,
All right,
just guess what? North Park is here. We've been here. And we
Oh, okay.
agree, yes.
okay, North Park is here now, okay.
Sarah
Mesa as well, logged in late, apologies.
Who else?
Sarah Mesa.
Sarah Mesa, okay, let me grab you, thank you, guys.
And La Jolla. La Jolla.
And La Jolla, okay. All right. Wonderful. Let me grab your meeting minutes, yes or no on the meeting minutes or abstentions. So starting with La Jolla,
Yes.
and then we had, did we miss North Park?
Yes, because North Park's on mine.
No, okay, North Park today.
North Park and yes.
Okay, thank you, North Park. Okay, and Sarah Mesa.
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, Sarah Mesa, who are you?
Chris
please?
Rosemond, chair for Sarah Mesa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, our vice chair was here last week or last month.
Okay, great. Okay. We're moving right along. Good, good, good. Thank you, everybody. We are gonna go right into item number 4, which is preservation and progress, package A, city planning department. And this is an action item. And, I've already forgotten your names, I'm sorry. Kelly is here from the city to, tell us about the package A.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today. I'm Kelly Stonko. I'm Deputy Director of the Climate Preservation and Public Spaces Division in the City Planning Department. And I'm happy to be here this evening to present to you the Preservation and Progress Package A. So Preservation and Progress is a comprehensive update to the city's heritage preservation program. There are 6 overarching goals of the program outlined on the slide here, to advance equity in historic preservation, evaluate our Mills Act program, which is the property tax incentive for historic designation to ensure equitable and fiscally responsible implementation of the program, to identify and protect historical resources that are of importance to the community with an emphasis on historic districts, reform permit processes to better encourage the adaptive reuse of historical buildings on their original site, adopt design standards for historical properties that provide clear guidance for how new development can be incorporated into historic properties and districts, and to remove regulations that unnecessarily impact properties that lack historical or cultural importance. To kind of tackle this comprehensive update, we have divided preservation and progress into 2 packages of amendments. Package A is the simpler, more straightforward amendments that don't require significant or complex environmental analysis. And then package B will be the more detailed work, the more complex work, and work that we expect will require a more detailed level of environmental analysis. So in terms of what we have included in package A, with this effort, we have amendments to the general plan, both the historic preservation element of the general plan, as well as Appendix F, which provides a summary of the historical development of San Diego. We also have amendments to the land development code of the municipal code, specifically updates to the appeal process for historic designations, and clarifying amendments to the applicability of complete communities housing solutions in our emerging historic districts and our thematic historic districts, as well as some other minor cleanup items. And then also an update to our historic preservation fund. The city has a fund that primarily collects revenue through code enforcement and civil penalties for unpermitted alterations of historic resources. And we really want to focus the use of those funds on advancing equity and preservation. And so we'll get into a little bit more detail of how we envisioning doing that. Looking first at the general plan changes, kind of an overview of some of the changes in the narrative sections of the element. We have an updated discussion regarding Native American resources and consultation to make sure we're incorporating all new laws that have been passed in that regard since the general plan was first updated in 2008. We've also updated the discussion of the San Diego Municipal Code, our historical resources regulations, as well as requirements in the historical resources guidelines of the land development manual to remove repeats or detailed summaries of those regulations, because as a higher level policy document, the general plan shouldn't repeat regulations. So we kind of scaled that back and provided the reference as to where that detail can be found, whether it's the historical resources regulations, the land development manual, or so forth. And that's again to kind of keep that at a higher level, consistent with the other elements in the general plan. We also removed references to conservation areas, which was a concept that was explored with the 2008 general plan for areas that didn't retain enough integrity to be eligible for historic district designation, but still had a quality and a character that the community was interested in protecting. We explored after the general plan was adopted in 2008, various ways to go about doing that, but really couldn't gain any traction or consensus around that concept. So instead, what we're looking at doing in package B is looking at establishing kind of what we're calling a commemorative designation program. So honoring, acknowledging, documenting, celebrating properties in areas that no longer meet the criteria for designation, but still have importance to the community, and potentially incorporate some urban design elements with that, but changing that language to remove the conservation area concept and sort of tee us up for this commemorative designation program that will be coming in package B. We also in the narrative have more minor updates to outdated language, terminology, the number of historic designated historic sites and districts on the city's register, all of which hadn't been updated since 2008. Some policy updates, just to kind of highlight a few of the key ones. There are several policy updates and changes related to tribal cultural resources and consultation with the Kumeyaay Nation. These were policies that had been in a lot of our recent community plan updates and developed kind of in consultation with our tribal representatives. So wanted to pull that into our broader general plan as well, the overarching policy document. Again, policy amendments related to updating that conservation area concept and shifting more towards acknowledgement and celebration in a manner that would support a commemorative designation program. Ensuring policies around ensuring preservation efforts recognize and celebrate the histories of all communities, including those that are traditionally underrepresented in our historic preservation program. Policies identifying the use of objective design standards for historic resources. So building on the U.S. Secretary of the Interior standards to develop design requirements that are clear for how you go about adding to historic properties and districts, and kind of aligning those regulations with state housing laws, which require objective design standards. And as well as new policies regarding promoting the use of sustainable materials and practices in restoring historic resources and developing mitigation strategies to address climate change impacts. In terms of Appendix F, as I noted, that's a summary of San Diego history. We have kicked off a preparation of a citywide historic context statement. A historic context statement is a document that kind of focuses on how the city's built environment came to be the way it is, how history has shaped the city we live in, and what resources or buildings areas are important to that history. So that citywide historic context statement will take a few years to develop, and we expect that this Appendix F will be comprehensively updated once we complete that process. But in the meantime, we wanted to kind of triage and do some interim updates to better address tribal cultural history and prehistory, as well as the impact of past zoning and lending practices on segregation and lack of infrastructure investment, and to tie Appendix F to Appendix A of our housing element that has a much more detailed discussion of that history and those impacts. Moving into our municipal code amendments, we have some updates related to Historical Resources Board appointments and terms, really minor change, shifting the deadline for the mayor to appoint a chair from April 15th to April 30th. That's just an administrative thing to help us with managing our docket a little bit better. The second change relates to the technical expertise on the board. So the board is comprised of 11 members, 5 are experts in the field of historic preservation, 5 separate fields that are specifically called out. In years past, we have had difficulty finding qualified volunteers to fill some of those seats, in particular our architectural historian seat and sometimes our archaeologist seat. And so we wanted to build into this a little bit of flexibility that if we were having a hard time finding a qualified volunteer in one category, we could fill that seat with a second technical professional from one of the other seats. So if we can't find an architectural historian, we could fill it with a second historian. So the board can kind of continue to carry out its duties and functions without holding a volunteer hostage, which we've done before. So that's just to kind of give us a little bit of flexibility there, but our goal will always be to have all 5 seats, separate professional seats represented. And we do have the caveat as well that you can't have more than 2 professionals from the same field. So we can't, turn all 5 of those into architects or historians. We still want to have that varied expertise. Some other minor changes around noticing and the time limit for HRB review. Most of our noticing language is kind of cleaned up to align with other city noticing requirements. Things that are generally unimportant to the public, but matter to code nerds in terms of going from property owner to record owner, which is a defined term. So clean up things like that. And when notice has to be mailed, and then clarifying the requirement of when the 90 days of essentially purview the board has or jurisdiction that the board has over an item, when that starts, that it's the first hearing in which the board considers the property. Because right now the language could benefit from some clarity. Also included are angered the HDMI gods. Also included are amendments related to appeals of historic designations. So currently under the code, the only action that can be appealed, only action of the Historical Resources Board that can be appealed to the city council is an action to designate. No other actions can be appealed. And currently those appeal findings are limited to the council finding that there was an error in information presented to the board, a violation of bylaws or hearing procedures by a board or individual member, or new information that the board hadn't considered. What the council does not currently have is the ability to essentially rehear and reconsider the merits of the designation. The current process was established when the Land Development Code was adopted, comprehensively updated back in the late 1990s, and at that time, the determination was to kind of defer that determination of significance to the appointed board and retain more limited jurisdiction and oversight in the appeal process. But in recent years, we've heard from the council interest in expanding their considerations in appeals to also include a reconsideration of the merits of the designation itself. And I will get into that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. We're also aligning the appeal filing requirements with other city appeals and introducing a 180-day docketing timeline. Currently, there's no time frame for processing appeals, and we have appeals that have been languishing for many years. So I want to kind of introduce the timeline so we can get those moving. A recent change to package A, since we presented to the Historical Resources Board last week, and what we will be presenting to the Planning Commission next week, is that we are no longer proposing adding the ability to appeal for decisions to not designate a property. That was something we were originally including in package A. It had been the subject of a lot of discussion through the policy subcommittee of the Historical Resources Board and the Historical Resources Board itself. There was discussion of limiting that ability to the property owner. There was concern about the fairness of limiting it to the property owner. And kind of a lack of consensus around what would be the best path forward for this new ability to appeal non-designations. So as we move this package forward, we'll be pulling that item out and not changing what can be appealed in terms of the Historical Resources Board actions. So I got a little bit ahead of myself in the discussion in terms of the council's findings currently for appeal. The new finding that we will be adding, a fourth finding, is a findings not supported finding, which is consistent with the appeal of development permits. This is a very text-heavy slide, and I certainly don't expect people in the back to be able to read it, but I just kind of put it up for comparison purposes. On the left-hand side are the appeal findings for development permits that are process 2 or 3, so approved by staff or a hearing officer. And when those are appealed to the higher level decision-making body, what findings are available to them. They have factual error, new information, findings not supported, and conflicts. So we looked at that findings not supported finding and looked at how we could utilize that or adapt that for the designation process. And so on the right, you have the proposed appeal findings for historic designations. We have the same 3 that we have now: factual error, new information, violation of bylaws, and then new findings not supported. This would allow the council to reconsider the information that was presented to the board and determine whether they believe the information in the record supports the board's findings to designate the property. That decision would need to be based on the city's designation criteria, and on our criteria guidelines, they wouldn't be able to consider other factors in that. They're still looking at just the merits of the designation. We have some other cleanup items, kind of aligning our appeal filing requirements, like what information you have to provide when you submit an appeal with other processes, basic appellant property information, grounds for the appeal. And again, introduced a docketing deadline of 180 days so that we can move future appeal processes along. A lot of other city appeals are docketed within 60 days. We gave this one a little bit more time for an appellant to be able to pull together information in support of their appeal. We can certainly do it in less time, but that's kind of the max. We also have some clarification of board role in reviewing National Register nominations to make sure that we're clarifying our roles consistent with the National Historic Preservation Act and our roles and responsibilities as a certified local government. Lastly, in terms of municipal code amendments, we have some clarifying amendments to complete communities housing solutions that clarify it is allowed in thematic and emerging historic districts if the property is not a contributing resource. The thematic and emerging historic districts that the city has is the Ocean Beach Cottage Emerging Historic District and the Chinese Asian Thematic District, which is downtown. This change does not, or this amendment does not change how thematic and emerging historic districts have always been regulated and is consistent with our district procedures that state only contributing resources within emerging and thematic districts are regulated. Again, a lot of text on this slide, but I wanted to have it available. This is from the board's Historical Resources Board procedure on establishing historic districts. It was adopted in 2011. I kind of bolded some of the relevant text that clearly states that within Ocean Beach, only those properties identified and designated as contributors are currently regulated. So if you're not a contributor, there's no regulation as a result of the district. And it's also voluntary in nature. Looking at the boundary for the Ocean Beach Cottage District, it encompasses the original Ocean Beach subdivision, which includes 3,000 parcels. And only 72 of those are contributing resources to the district. So again, there wasn't an intention to regulate the properties that are not contributing resources, and those have never been regulated as part of the district since its establishment in 2000. Lastly, our Historic Preservation Fund. The purpose and focus of the fund will be modified to advance equity and preservation through funding efforts that support the identification and preservation of resources that are significant for their association with cultural groups and communities that are underrepresented in preservation, and to also provide direct financial assistance to very low income and low income owners of historic properties to assist with maintenance and restoration. In terms of our public outreach, we went to the policy subcommittee of the Historical Resources Board in July, August, and October of this year. The policy subcommittee had recommended the ability to appeal actions to not designate be limited to the property owner, and we're generally supportive of all other aspects of the package. Again, that ability to appeal actions to not designate has now been removed from the package. We had a public workshop, a virtual public workshop on October 8th and presented to the Historical Resources Board last week on October 23rd. The board put forward two motions that both failed and didn't, that the item concluded ultimately without a recommendation from the Historical Resources Board. Review by the California State Office of Historic Preservation. As a certified local government, the city is required to provide proposed amendments to the California State Office of Historic Preservation for review and comment. We have done that and spoken with and walked through the amendments, and on October 23rd, the office confirmed that they have no objections to the proposed changes and supports the city's efforts. We have some upcoming public hearings on November 6th with Planning Commission, December 11th with Land Use and Housing, and then we are looking at City Council in late January, possibly very early February, is our timeline. Again, just kind of highlighting actions, amendments to the Land Development Code, to the historic preservation element and appendix F of the general plan, and to the purpose and intended use of the city's historic preservation fund. And that is our website where you can learn more, sign up for updates, have access to documents and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Kelly. We've had quite a few documents come in. I sent those out to many of you. I'm not sure who's had a chance to read what, but there's at least 3 different organizations that have sent in letters in opposition to package A. So having said that, we do want to discuss this, but I also want to see if there's any potential motion on the floor for package A and CPC, if there's anything out there. So if there's anyone that has any, I'm gonna first go here to the board and then I'll go to the public. Does anybody have any thing? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. The mid-city area is going through an update process, and all of Eastern area, almost all of Eastern area has been designated as not historically significant, and we're supposed to have that blatant statement over all our properties for like 50 years or something. And I don't understand this, and it doesn't make sense. We do have historical sites within our area, and I don't understand the designation, how it can be put in our community plan, and what we can do about it.
It's not related to package A, but I'm happy to go through that if you would like, or
That's okay, I can get.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
follow up and answer the question. I just
I'd like to keep it just to package A. So
So I'll contact you.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, great. Okay, any other discussion or questions? Okay,
So
Melissa,
just real quick for clarification purposes, when you said that there was no recommendation from the HRB, does that mean there was no recommendation to make changes to package A? Or there was no recommendation to endorse package A?
Essentially both, because they made motions to recommend council adoption just pursuant to the staff recommendation, and then the staff recommendation with some modifications. Both motions failed, and then that concluded their action on the item. Thank you.
yes, Guy?
Yeah. Is there any map that shows areas that are considered significant for historic stuff? The reason I'm bringing that up is I'm thinking that if I was back east, that Levittown, which was built right after World War II, that's a significant historical asset because the style of housing and all that sort of thing is, it relates to a period in history. And we have areas in the city of San Diego that were all developed at individual periods in time in the 30s, especially even go over to Point Loma. Almost everything there, as far as I know, was built prior to World War II and in the 20s and the 30s, and then Mission Hills. Is there a consideration that entire neighborhoods would be declared historical and not to be changed?
We do have, both individually designated properties and historic districts, which are, you know, larger,
Yeah.
areas, either neighborhood based, subdivision based, kind of varies from district to district. That have been designated by the Historical Resources Board as significant, and those are, regulated under our code. We also have, areas that have been surveyed for possible significance. With those survey efforts, they are preliminary, and they basically identify areas where we need to go back in and do more detailed research to confirm if there is a district there. So we have areas that have been flagged for future survey, with some efforts. I also mentioned we're kicking off our citywide historic context statement that helps us identify individual resources and districts, like what we'd be looking for in terms of significant areas. And that will help lay the groundwork for future surveys across the city to help us proactively identify historic neighborhoods and districts.
Okay, and then shutting this off for me anyway, do you guys subscribe to Historic Preservation magazine?
Don't know that we
If
have.
not, you should. It's, you know, it's the whole damn country that isolates these things that ordinarily you wouldn't think of a school that was in the 1920s worth preserving, but actually when you look at it, you think, oh, this building is, can we find an adaptive reuse for it?
Yeah.
And if you're ever in Memphis, you wanna go to the former southeastern, transfer point and supply thing for Sears and Roebuck. I think it's a 23-story building that they have done adaptive reuse in it. And it's worth going inside that building and having at least a cup of coffee and seeing what they did with adaptive reuse.
Great, thank you.
With a big building.
Yeah. Thank you, Guy. I'm gonna go over to Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not as close to this as maybe the others are, but, and if I had gotten the PowerPoint sent to us, that would have really helped for me to see some of the small print. I didn't quite understand the discussion on the deletion of the regulatory and plan and permitting. Was it just taking out the explanations of it, or is it even a consideration in historic resources, or how is that?
I want to make sure I understand your question. So are you kind of referring back to that first slide where I talked about like the 6 different goals that we were trying to accomplish and maybe like where the.
I couldn't read those.
Okay. In one of those was removal of regulations that unnecessarily impact properties that lack significance. Is that kind of what you were talking about, or am I
Yeah, I guess it was just a general comment, said that take out the regulatory and permitting process. I wasn't sure. You're just saying kind of clean it up or something.
Yeah, so with package A, there isn't anything that we are doing or impacting with package A that addresses regulation of historic properties or potentially historic properties. That will come in package B. Those are part of those more complex, detailed amendments. So we're not proposing anything that gets at kind of the regulatory streamlining in package A. That'll be the next package B, which we will also bring forward.
Okay, then as far as the people that decide on the historical, whether or not it's a historical resource, I saw something about 5 professionals. Are those the only people that vote on it?
No, so the Historical Resources Board is an 11-member board appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. Of those 11 members, 5 are experts in the field of historic preservation. So that you have that expertise and perspective on the board, and then others are typically people in somewhat related fields who have an interest in preservation. And to designate a historic resource, you need 6 votes of the 11 members of the Historical Resources Board, and all 11 are voting members.
Yeah, I didn't hear the part about the 6. Who are the 6 again?
So to designate a resource, you need 6 of the 11 full members of the board to designate.
I guess what I meant was the 5 are the experts. I got that. And who are the other 6 again?
So the other 6 are other members of the public who've expressed an interest in historic preservation. So we have people in different fields in those positions. We have lawyers, we have realtors, we have people associated with apartment associations. I'm trying to recall the top of my head.
Usually not city council people are.
No.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I've got one more, and then I need to move to public because we are over time now, so go ahead.
Advancing equity, if you don't mind explaining how code enforcement is gonna, I mean, what does that mean in historic preservation? Our community doesn't have any historical homes that have been deemed historic, and yet we have plenty of homes built in the 20s that are gorgeous. So will the code enforcement monies for advancing equity be for communities of concern that want the or what is that for? Yeah, so the goal, what's the hope, I guess? Sure, the hope would be that we can help fund designation of new historic resources in underrepresented communities. To do that either through city-led efforts or community-led efforts that we're providing assistance to help designate new historic resources. And then if assistance is needed, then in repairing, restoring those new resources, then we would also have a grant fund that would help to support that as well.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead to the public, in the back there, did I see? Yeah, and if you would, if you're public, if you could come up here so that the speaker can hear you and all of that, and speak as loudly as you can, so.
And board
I'll
members,
let you choose.
public.
Yeah, you have something, yeah, we're gonna have to put a time limit on it just because of that. So I'm gonna give you. Oh. How many we have? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna limit it to the 4 and Golden Hill at 2 minutes apart a piece. And then we're gonna move on from there. So, yes, sir.
Yes, Bruce comes from the Save Our Heritage Organization.
We received your letter.
Yeah, thank you, members of the planning groups and planning board. Since I only have 2 minutes, I'm gonna concentrate on the de novo hearing. What the change is to the appeals process is to allow the council to overturn a designation for any reason. Today, they can't do that. The experts make the decision. And the council can only overturn for new information and violations of bylaws and other things. If they wanted, they set it up that way, the council set it up that way because they wanted the experts to make the decision. Because it's a baseline decision, it's not the final disposition of the resource, it's just trying to decide, is it historic or is it not? Like, is it a vernal pool or is it not? The land use decision remains in the city council's purview, whether it stays, whether it's modified or it's moved, or it's demolished. But this gives them a chance to overturn it for any reason. This idea of de novo comes up every 3 or 4 years for the last 25 years since it's been passed. It's always been denied by the HRB, including this time. They have not endorsed it, and the city councils in the past, but the developers want no constraints. They don't want us to be able to save historic resources, so they want to be able to overturn it at any time. We have so many historic resources that are lost to decay, fire, demolition by neglect, development, and remodeling. It's a constantly diminishing supply of historic resources, which every year further fewer survive, excuse me. But the proposed changes undoubtedly will lose a lot more. These sites are what make our city beautiful, economically prosperous.
Thank you.
That all of it. Can I make a concluding statement?
Very quickly. It's quick.
The city, despite what they've said, they have not done the required environmental work. They have to do an EIR and mitigation, and they can't separate package A from B. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Okay, yes, next.
Hi, thanks. I'm Janet O'Day. Thank you, planners. I'm from the Mission Hills. And I've been following this process. The proposed de novo process of package A would turn a fact-based professional system into a political one. City council lacks the expertise to decide what is or is not historic. That role has legitimacy with qualified professionals and experts on the historic resources board. What's happening here is the HRB is mirroring what happened to our planning groups. I served on the uptown planners between 2006 and 2014. That was before the city reforms removed the requirement for developers to appear before the planning committees. Back then, district and city staff used to come to each meeting. I don't know if you all remember that. But since then, community input has been utterly diminished. The reform stripped communities of any real influence. This de novo proposal attempts to continue that same pattern, marginalizing citizen input and concentrating power at City Hall. Today, the city bypassed your individual community boards entirely. And it's coming straight to the CPC to ram this through. That's not fair to you or to the members of your community. And it completely bypasses the intent and structure of neighborhood level review. I urge you to reject recommending the proposed package A, just as the HRB did. The city hasn't provided information required under CEQA, and approving this would only weaken public participation besides accelerating the loss of San Diego's historic resources. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, soft spoke, okay. Alana Coons, Saber Heritage Organization. Thank you, Chair and CPC members. The city has not provided the environmental analysis or supporting documentation required under CEQA. Segmenting package A from package B violates CEQA's requirement to evaluate the whole of the action. Without the necessary information and mitigation analysis, neither the CPC nor the public can make an informed or legally defensible decision. The proposed changes would weaken existing protections, increase environmental impacts, and lead directly to the loss or degradation of more historic and cultural resources. Further, the city is asking you to disregard the expertise of the Historic Resources Board, who just last week rejected package A. Soho and a coalition of 13 historic and neighborhood preservation groups strongly oppose package A. We and they have asked for meetings with city staff to help craft a version that truly supports preservation, and the city has been responsive to every request. The city held just one somewhat last minute Zoom workshop, then check that box and move down. Now you are the next box to check off so that they can tell city council they went to the community, but they haven't. They bypassed your individual planning boards and the communities you represent the opportunities to discuss. This proposal is not about preservation. It's about streamlining demolition for new construction. It says it right in the program, right throughout that program Kelly showed. It says streamlining new construction. That's the goal. And it will steamroll San Diego's historic neighborhoods. We urge you to reject all of package A, just like the HRB did. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
2 minutes.
So I think the first thing to emphasize here is that the HRB did not take action on this package, and the reason they didn't take action on this package was because they were concerned not just about the appeal process, but also by the fact that today what happens at HRB is it takes a super majority in order to do a designation. And if any of you are familiar with other boards in the city, no other board decision is taken with a super majority. They just use a simple majority. And the reason it's important here is, yes, there are some people who have historic training on the Historic Resources Board, but there are also a lot of people that are from the building industry on the Historic Resources Board. In fact, the lawyer who represents the Greater Golden Hill lawsuit on behalf of the developer is the former chair of the HRB. And so in our strong mayor system, the mayor is able to stack all the boards with, people that are friendly to his policies. So what the HRB really wanted is for this thing to be continued to be worked on, particularly with regard to both the appeal and the majority vote versus a super majority. So hopefully that's something we can consider here. We tend to drive things through on a calendar as opposed to when they're ready to be considered by the council. And I'll just say, there may be a council member who says he wants to have review of these projects, but they don't really want a flood of every single designation to come to city council. That's not something that council wants, and they've expressed in the past that they don't want this appeal process as opposed to really wanting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna end with Golden Hill. But please keep in mind, after Golden Hill, I'd like somebody, if somebody wants to make a motion on the floor, we need to move on and do that. So Golden Hill.
Quickly, there's much to like, much to not like. I think it's very appropriate that they remove the appeal of the non-designation. As heartbreaking as it can be for a cultural resource not to be recognized, especially due to procedural issue like not board members didn't show up at meetings, which happens. It's, I don't know of any other place where you can appeal something not happening. And that's essentially what that is. I am also concerned with what's been described as a level hearing. The council does not have the focus, even within staff, they don't bother to do the work too often. My favorite example is a few years ago, one of the council members voted to support removing a designated resource because they said it's a craftsman home. Everybody knows Sears never made houses. Well, maybe some people know that, some people don't. But Sears made houses for many years. They never called them craftsmen because that was a trademark brand name used by Gustav Stiffy until his bankruptcy in 1916. Sears started using their tool from the late 1920s. They're not related, but Sears did make houses. There are craftsman houses, but that are the wisdom of the deliberative body that is the council just cited non-facts. And uninformed, misinformed, ill-informed, and that's my favorite example of something, but it just politicizing in general. These are essentially, as noted, testimony, determinations of resources. There's no other place, you don't vote as a vernal rule. So as a cultural resource, the determination process is more of a cultural one. And some people make plans recently up, they do have historic preservation, though they all have historic preservation elements, there's a general plan for the historic preservation.
Time. All right, thank you. Do I have a motion, David?
Well, I'm gonna comment and then I'll make a motion.
Okay.
First of all, I know that for many of you, historic preservation is not the central element of your community. But for those of us who it is the heart and soul of what our community is. It's as if you were going to plow under the beach of the beach communities, if you were to rip away our historic character of our historic neighborhoods. One of the first comments I ever made at a CPC meeting was to say that once a historic resource is demolished, it's gone forever. It can't be replaced. So when it comes to de novo appeal, the Supreme Court does not retry a case when it hears an appeal. It looks at the facts and the grounds for the appeal, but it does not go down to the root cause and say, we are going to pretend to be in this case, have city council pretend to be experts in historic preservation. And I assure you, they may say they want appeals, to hear appeals, but they do not want that in their inbox. So I'm going to make a motion to, I'm going to make a motion that we oppose removal of automatic recognition of national districts. For 10 years, there's been a de facto moratorium on the processing of historic districts in the city of San Diego. And the national recognition process was one way to say, you do not have the right to enact a de facto moratorium without, going through the proper city council procedure. De novo appeal, I think we should oppose de novo appeal. As I said, Supreme Court doesn't retry cases, city council shouldn't either. And I think we should affirmatively ask that they move to a voting system where it's a majority of those present. CPC doesn't operate where all 41 of us, we have a majority of all 41 of us. It's a majority vote of us who are here. I think because in the current system, every no vote, every absence is a no vote. Even though you may be a yes vote, if you're absent, you're a no vote. I think going to a majority of those present reflects a fair balance.
Is that all of your motion?
Yes, yes.
I'll second the motion forwarded by Kenzie Salvador.
Okay, it was a three-part motion.
Yes.
Okay, and if you will just give those three parts again, but before you do, before you do, she has Kelly has a clarification.
I just wanted to clarify, since it was one of the three components of your motion. The automatic regulation of National Register resources is not in package A, it's in package B. So that will be coming back as part of package B.
Okay, I appreciate that. I know it's gonna
So is it a two-part motion now?
now a two-part motion.
Second motion, and by Kenzie Salvador.
Oh, and okay,
Is online public comment allowed?
Come back, preservation board actually makes a decision.
That'll be under the council visit.
Okay.
Under the planning commission.
yeah, okay, we've run out of time for any more commentary, so at this point, we need to take this motion, which has been seconded, and,
There's now a two-part motion.
if you'll, yes, read that one more time, so all the members on the board understand.
That we oppose the de novo appeal and that we support that they HRB affirmatively change their voting policy to a majority of those present. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay. All right, and just so, I'm just gonna look really quick, we did get 3 different letters in from Mission Hills Heritage, Save Our Heritage Organization, and Neighborhood Historic Preservation Coalition. Each one has asked, actually, this one is just in summary, Save Our Heritage Organization, that's both, also asked that, said the city hasn't met its legal obligations and the proposed changes threaten both our shared heritage and foundation and San Diego's citizen-based planning and review process. So, having said that, are we ready to take a vote?
I have a
Yes.
question of clarification, David. So the way appeals are my bread and butter, and the way I understand some of the complaints about package A related to appeals is that there's a provision removed from package A, and maybe the city can help me with this, that removes, you can no longer appeal non-designations.
So, no, currently, under our current regulations, you cannot appeal a non-designation and only appeal an action to designate. We were originally proposing with package A, adding the ability to appeal a non-designation. But that was controversial, and so we pulled it out. So we're proposing to maintain the status quo, the existing condition.
Does that change your motion?
No, because I didn't address that part of it.
Victoria, can I understand something? Victoria, can I understand something? Because I don't understand the motion.
Okay, hold on, is that Marcella?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second, we might have an amendment.
Yeah,
to it,
I would
and then we'll
ask
redo
that
it.
I would ask that we, I don't know if we can oppose the removal. I think that it would be, it ties in with the appellate process that I think is at stake.
And provide cemetery
Yes,
of appeals.
yeah.
I would be okay to adding that in with my secondary.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, as amended, so if we can put this together again, which you might.
Can I just ask, are we opposing what the city, are we doing an oppose with amendments, or are we doing an approve with amendments? I'm very confused.
It's an oppose with amendments.
So we're opposing the city moving forward, and David is proposing these amendments. So it's oppose with amendments. Okay, thank you.
Okay. One more time, David, is everybody?
Okay. We are going to oppose the de novo repeal, and we're going to affirmatively ask that the voting be done by majority of those present, and we're going to ask for the reintroduction of the
Symmetrical appeal.
symmetrical appeal to appeal non-designations.
Okay. With that,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I need some clarification. Is it still set up that the all the appeals are done by the council?
So yes, the appeals would be done by the council regardless, that the authority to hear an appeal would not change. It's just the findings that the council could consider in an appeal.
That
So,
just seems, like a big conflict of interest. I don't think that's right. I think it ought to go back to the board.
Okay. Are we ready to take a vote on the motion?
Yes.
I don't recall having the word de novo in what we were doing, so I'm not quite sure how it's being used in your motion.
That is a reference to the findings of fact, where they go back and rehear all of the evidence and make a determination that is different from the HRB's expert determination.
And that comes from the board, it's different from the experts.
The council's, it's,
So it's the
they have
council.
new from the beginning hearing, it's flat, it's a legal term of art.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the roll call on the motion. Starting with Carmel Valley.
Do we have a motion in a second?
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
Motion
David
has
with
been
the motion.
Okay.
And
Yes.
Was there a member of the community?
I think he just had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I ended questions. Okay, sorry, it's okay. All right, Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yeah.
And here, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. City Heights,
Yes.
College Area,
Yes.
Del Mar Mesa,
Yes.
Downtown,
Yes.
Eastern Area,
Yes.
Greater Golden Hill,
Yes.
Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
yes, La Jolla. La Jolla here,
Yes.
okay, Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Yes.
North Park,
Approved.
Ocean Beach,
Yes.
Otay Mesa,
Yes.
Pacific Beach,
Yes.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes, Sarah Mesa,
Yes.
Skyline Paradise Hills,
Yes.
Tierra Santa,
Yes.
Torrey Pines.
Yes.
University
Yes.
and Uptown.
Yep.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Okay, thank you very much. We are gonna move on quickly because we're behind now. So we're jumping right into Vicki Touchstone. And, oh, I need to do let me get your presentation up here. Let's see. So. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I skipped David, but he just left, so we'll come back to David. He's probably glad I missed him. Okay, okay.
This item addresses changes made to the land development code beginning in 2020 that resulted in significant changes to the way capital improvement programs and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations are processed. Next slide, please. As a result of these changes, multiple requests, including from the CPC, were made to the planning department as part of the 2024 land development code update process to correct various sections of the land development code related to CIP and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations. With no explanation, these requests were not acknowledged nor included in the list of potential revisions to the code that were released by the planning department in August 2025. Next slide, please. Beginning in 2020, as part of the land development code 12th update phase 2, the planning department initiated various revisions to the land development code related to the processing of CIP and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations. Prior to these changes, CIP and public projects that deviated from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations were required to be processed under CIP Project 5. This requires a public hearing before the city council.
As part of the update, the land development code was revised to allow CIP public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands designation to be processed under CIP project 2, which only requires staff review and approval and no public hearing is provided. The staff action can be appealed to the city council, but it appears to require action within 10 business days of the decision at a cost of $1,000. Therefore, in order to have the opportunity to provide comments on a project that deviates from the environmentally sensitive lands regulation, one must first know that the staff action has taken place and then pay to have the opportunity to provide public comments in a public hearing forum. Next slide, please. In reviewing the public records from the Planning Commission and the City Council hearings on the decision process for the 12th update, phase 2, we located Planning Department reports to the Planning Commission dated December 2nd, 2019 that address compliance of the various code changes in section 11562 of the Environmental Quality Act. In the Planning Department CEQA guidelines section for consistency, the matrix states in item 15, defining a public project and reducing the CIP and public project process for the following. Discretionary process from a 5 to a 2 does not apply to deviation of historical, environmentally sensitive lands or archaeological resources. For reasons not explained, the required changes to the Land Development Code to ensure compliance with CEQA have to date not been made. Further, based on the conclusion of the CEQA consistency evaluation, revisions to the Land Development Code reestablished the requirement that CPC and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations must comply with the discretionary process 5, and they're necessary and required to be in compliance with CEQA. Next slide, please. Action in the form of code corrections is needed to ensure that the public has the opportunity to review and comment on CIP and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations, including providing the opportunity for comments at a public hearing.
I just saw your message.
Actions previously taken by the CPC related to this issue. I am asking that the CPC formally request that the city attorney and the planning department, as part of the current Land Development Code update, work together to correct the errors in the code related to CIP and public projects that deviate from the environmentally sensitive lands regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki.
That's a motion.
That's a motion. Okay, so Vicki is motioning and the motion is on the screen. Thank you, Vicki. And Greater Golden Hill seconded the motion?
I'll start on.
Greater Golden Hill seconded that. Thank you though. Any other comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Last year, following the discussion CPC, our planning group considered that and adopted unanimously, expression of concern, which was communicated to the same lack of response. A few months back, we again communicated that concern, same, actually with carbon copy, the same lack of response. And then more recently, I brought it back to the board and reaffirmed that concern, which they did once again unanimously. That's why I shared it again with decision makers and staff that concern. So I think it's a really important issue, both in terms of transparency and communication, as well as the environmental quality. Our neighborhood, a lot of canyons, different communities have different amounts of different sorts of resources that might be impacted, but we're hit a lot by that. And so I think it's a really important issue.
Okay, thank you. Eastern area.
Did you give us a copy of this, and if you didn't, can you?
Yes, I just got it, so I can forward that out.
Because there's parts of it I want to be able to reference to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, the second was my great one. Okay, all right. I would like to, since you see no more hands, I'd like to go ahead and take a vote. Right, so let me get my escape from here and just wiggle that a little. All right, this is item number 6, am I correct? Yes, item number 6, okay. We're going for the vote here. Carmel Valley.
Yes.
Encanto.
Yes.
High City Heights.
Yes.
College area.
Yes.
Del Mar Mesa. Del Mar Mesa.
On Zoom.
Okay, I'll come back if they pop up. Downtown,
Yes.
Eastern area,
Yes.
Greater Golden Hill,
Yes.
Kensington, Talmadge,
Yes.
La Jolla,
Yes.
Linda Vista,
Yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Yes.
North Park,
Yes.
Ocean Beach,
Yes.
Otay Mesa, Pacific Beach,
Yes.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes, Sierra Mesa,
Yes.
Skyline, Paradise Hills,
Yes.
Tierra Santa,
Yes.
Torrey Pines, University,
Yes.
Uptown.
Yes.
Okay, again, passed well without, unless we're missing. Who is?
Delmar Mesa.
Delmar Mesa?
Delmar Mesa votes yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so unanimous, that passes. Thank you all. Okay, David, you're up. And we're on now, we're going back to item 5 and then we'll move forward after. Oh, do you have something?
Marley can answer that.
Oh, you got it.
So this is just an information item, so you don't have to like stress your brain worrying about emotion that has to be structured for it. And what I'm gonna give to you today is a logic and observation argument. It's not a data argument, and it's a sort of, I want you to sort of follow through on the logic of the things that I describe and how they match what you're seeing. And then I think you will come to a sense of why I believe what I do. And first of all, I am not selling cell service, even though that looks like that.
Hear me now?
Yeah. So I'm here to talk about, housing affordability. It's a worldwide problem. But that I think came down to 0% interest rates causing bond money to relocate into real estate and driving and bidding up prices. Then there's some national issues like the 2008 recession, eliminated labor supply and construction suppliers for new construction, and that sort of helped drive up housing prices. But I'm here to talk about California and what's going on in California and what makes us different. And while I long thought that the city's solution to housing affordability were wrong, when I thought through the problem, the root cause actually surprised me. California's housing costs were pretty close to the national average in the 70s, but something changed then. Developers will say it's environmental laws, and maybe that has had a little bit of effect. But I believe the root cause is in California's tax system. It's now structured so that land sellers have more power than the land buyers. So think about how things used to work. In the past, if your property was upzoned, you thought, woohoo, my property's value is increased. And then you thought, oh no, now that my property value is increased, my property taxes are going to go up too. I need to do something more with my property to pay the higher taxes. It created an impetus for redevelopment. By upzoning, I don't just mean formal upzoning. Every density bonus, FAR increase, or relaxed building standard is a form of upzoning. So all of these things that the city has been doing repetitively over the past 10, 20 years have all been a bunch of serial upzonings. And they have added capacity and value to the land. And you would think and hope that that would create an impetus to redevelop. But it hasn't. What's happened instead is they go, woohoo, my value has increased. But since my taxes haven't gone up, I don't have to do anything. I just sit back and wait for those sweet, sweet golden ticket offers to roll in. There's no longer a sort of an even playing field between buyers and sellers of land. Next slide. So what does the golden ticket offer do? First, as land value goes up with every upzoning, nearly all of the value accrues to the benefit of the current landowner, not the developer who is taking the major risk. Second, waiting for the golden ticket offer delays and stretches out redevelopment. Waiting pays off. So all of our unused zoned capacity just sits back and waits for that golden ticket off. And once developers do buy a property and pay too much for it, they don't say, oh, I pay too much to make a good profit, I'm stupid. They say, oh, Mr. Elected Official, the land is under zone. That is what we keep hearing. I believe they pay too much for what actual capacity is. Their solution is to go to the elected officials and ask for upzone. And because the developers are the only people our elected officials listen to, that's the only solution they see. The solution that developers tell them to see. But that causes rising land prices, and it's axiomatic. High-priced land slide can only support Marlin.
Sorry.
You went too far?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the golden ticket kind
Oh, there's. Go to the next one.
of.
Okay,
Yeah, it's fine.
I got it, so refreshing my slide. It's axiomatic, high-priced land can only support luxury housing. And because there's no countervailing force, land prices will rise to the point where luxury housing is the only economically viable option. No landowner needs to sell at a lower price, they can wait. And isn't that what we've been seeing? The apartments that get built today have all these bells and whistles. Next slide. Rooftop decks, media rooms, exercise rooms, barbecue pits, swimming pools, saunas, AC, and unit washer and dryer. I know some of those seem kind of standard now, but they didn't used to be standard. And next slide. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, go back. My apologies. Councilmember Scott Sherman used to retell the story about how he had to get out of the apartment laundry room business because of the drop in new buildings. I would say it was because apartment quality had to increase to market units as luxury units, and that meant in-unit washers and dryers and not laundry rooms. Sure, we all appreciate the snazzy features, but many people just need to get their housing costs as low as possible and skip luxuries that cost extra money. I know that many of the dumps I used to live in didn't have any of these things. I in fact had one apartment that didn't even have a laundry room. I had to walk to the laundromat with a big pile of clothes to get my laundry done. But it was cheap. So, next slide. What are we seeing what's going on? The land value squeezes out all of the lower cost housing, and you only get that green luxury housing that's really can be built economically at that high land value price. Then you get an upzoning and you sort of have this burst of activity that quickly peters out to only luxury housing being built again, because you've squeezed out any of the moderate housing as the land value ratchets up to the new higher zoning. Again and again. That is what we're serially seeing over and over again. It's been happening essentially for, the past 40 years. Slowly, but it's been happening. So you've often heard the claim that Econ 101 and supply and demand will solve the housing problem. And you may also have heard that supply and demand won't work in the housing market. Both of these are wrong. We do have a functioning supply and demand housing market, but it only works at the luxury end of the market. With high-priced land that only supplies luxury units, and once luxury demand is met, luxury rents weaken, new construction will drop off. We will not ever get to the point where we've built enough to get into constructing moderate and lower cost housing. And everything, redeveloped or not, becomes more expensive, not less. Every one of these increments drives up the overall cost of housing more. The city actually kind of may even understand this. Their current policy seems to be to hide the upzoning and a blizzard of tweaks that the average person can't keep up with. Only people in the know what's happening. Next slide. That's why we see this. This is from ADU developer Christian Spicer. And next slide, I'll read out the key phrases. He says, traditional homeowners don't realize development potential. Prices will dramatically increase. acquire these properties now before homeowner awareness and prices jump? So think about that. The city has latched onto a policy that only works when they help developers extract value from unsophisticated sellers. Now, I'll say that again. The city solution is to conspire with developers to extract value from unsophisticated, often elderly sellers. And it makes all property permanently more expensive. In 2021 and 2022, when interest rates were going up, house prices in LA and the Bay Area flattened out. But in San Diego, house prices continued to climb because they had to price in the value of the bonus ADU program, which was a form of upzoning. For construction of a few thousand ADUs, every home in San Diego, at least at the low end or the affordable end, became $200,000 more expensive. To solve the problem, I think the city is drifting towards limitless development on any parcel here. But it won't work. All we're going to get is an unplanned city and very expensive land. Eventually, anyone with any economic options will abandon San Diego and leave the city for the suburbs where they have the protection of zoning and quality of life that you get when you still have meaningful zoning. Except for the beach areas, of course. People will put up with anything to live at the beach. So housing affordability has been a growing problem for 50 years. And in the 1970s, California was near the national average. And I believe it stems from a few aspects of Proposition 13. But we don't have to touch Proposition 13 to fix this problem. We just need to reintroduce incentives to redevelop upzoned properties. And we need incentives that don't drive up land value. Slide. This is the concept. It's the underutilized parcel tax. This idea came to me about the summer of 2021. And I thought I was just the smartest cookie in the jar. But 2 years later, the San Francisco Bay Area Planning and Urban Research Association published a paper on the same idea. So it's not the theory of relativity. So I'm going to give you a visualization of what this might look like. Next slide. Consider your typical strip mall in purple there. And it say has a FAR of 2.0. Next slide. Visualize it there. That's what you can build, but you know, it just sits there as a derelict strip mall because you know, you don't have to do anything. You wait for that golden ticket offer. So this is all of your development potential. In the underutilized parcel tax, you would exclude 50% of the unbuilt volume from the tax. The reason for that is it is economically usually unfeasible to say turn an 18-unit building into a 20-unit building. You just doesn't pay off economically to make that kind of thing. You need a big change. So you go from 10 units to 20 units. Next slide. So what you would actually tax, and I know this looks like Tetris, you would tax the golden area. This is your strip mall, and this is the taxable unbuilt area. The thing that would sort of give the owners a kick in the pants to do something with their upzoned property. And it wouldn't have the effect, other incentives, of driving up the value of the land. We'd only apply this to commercially zoned properties with a residential component because our RM zones contain most of our naturally occurring affordable housing. And commercial properties mostly in surplus right now. This will spur development without raising land values. It might even depress them a little bit, meaning not just luxury housing will get built. And it's not a permanent tax. You build your way out of paying the tax. Isn't that what we want? We want to get the housing built. And, Marlon, it's most effective where we've zoned for high density and high FAR. It works with planning and zoning, not against it. Unlike complete communities, where it's most effective at the lowest zoned parcel, most furthest into the neighborhoods, this works most effectively on our corridors. So, next slide. So the city solution has been upzoning after upzoning. Upzoning is a cure for underzoning. We are not underzoned. We may even be overzoned. What we have is a land market where sellers have inordinate power to just wait out buyers for top dollar. That's what we need to change. Don't need massive upzoning over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, we are running behind. We've got two items left on here, three really. So we're gonna jump right into the support, asking for requests of support correcting inaccurate maps. Rodrigo Gonzalez, if you'd like to come up with the Jamacha Neighborhood Council. Or do I have that? Who has that? I have it.
We'll trade you. Oh, hey,
This way. I don't know. No, I.
My diet, no and sugar. Donate to the Choice Valley. I gotta do it out of the deal, I made it on. Alright. Gotcha.
Did it work?
Uh-oh, didn't work.
No.
Oh, they're probably expired.
Okay,
Notify the
are
owner.
you ready, Rodrigo?
Yes.
Hopefully it's coming.
Standing in the first slide. Talk about it.
Oh, you want, okay.
Yes,
Just
it's fine.
say-
So we'll just talk about.
Okay. I don't know, I don't know. Yay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Okay, hi, Rodrigo Gonzalez, part of the Jamacha community, group. The issue that we're, addressing here is that, we're having an issue with the Jamacha, maps. Not necessarily the Skyline Paradise Hills Community Plan map, which has already been amended to separate Jamacha and Lomita, but most of the maps are within the city that are used have Jamacha lumped in with Lomita. Some of the issues that we run into with that are when we're lumped together with Lomita emergency evacuation zones and reporting data for the number of homes is not accurate. Crime statistics from our other areas could potentially increase our insurance rates and lower our home values. Hamashaw is falsely labeled as a transit priority area because Lomita is, and we are lumped in with Lomita. Public safety, there are certain areas, like Viewcrest and Imperial Avenue, which is a high incident location for accidental, vehicular and bike and pedestrian deaths. And due to the map and inaccurate maps, a lot of these are placed in Encanto, Lemon Grove, Lomita, Skyline instead of Hamashaw affecting us. It distorts all demographic information in Hamashaw. The Stormwater Planning Department, Development Service Department, Fire and Police are reporting projects in wrong communities and going to other CPGs and not to us. MLS real estate listing the entire 92114 and several separate neighborhoods as in Encanto is confusing to potential homeowners and businesses. So we're asking for some support to go forward and try to get the other maps within the city changed. And I know one of the main ones is the police map for that area has Hamashaw and Lomita lumped together, and that's a big issue. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Questions, and did you guys talk about?
Well, yeah, we talked, and I think one of your original was, we were gonna approve a motion maybe to send this letter or on to other groups. I think the issue is we don't know what the other groups are.
Okay.
There was like a planning commission, land use and housing in the city. I don't think this needs to go that direction,
Okay.
but I don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
Who have you sent it to and to try and get this resolved?
I think we've worked with Henry Foster quite extensively trying to get that, so, and we do have the map amended to be separated, but the other issue is that, within the map that we picked, the ending of Hamashaw also has been cut off from going all the way to 69th, it's cut off to 68, so there's issues with the map. It's still, but Henry Foster is who we've been working with so far, but it's been an issue speaking with the police department, because they don't wanna budge to move their map to separate. They were the ones that lumped in Lomita and Hamashaw.
Well, are you part of the same, I don't know, they have numbers for their territory, their areas, are you part of the same area?
We are, we're in the area, but if you look at, the Skyline Paradise Hills Community Plan, it was separate. It's set up to have, 6 geographical areas, which are Skyline, Paradise Hills, South Bay Terrace, North Bay Terrace, Lomita, and Hamashaw. So nowhere in there is there a Lomita Hamashaw splitting.
Yeah, but I think the police work on different criteria.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm strongly inclined to support any recommendation for the requested corrections. This has been an issue, especially in the southeastern part of San Diego for a long time, and Reverend George Stevens was in office many years ago. He was big on neighborhood names, correct neighborhood names, instead of lumping things together. And he picked up the baton there from his predecessor, William Jones, published a program called Project First Class in the early 80s. And I think those just revolutions what we do at neighbors. The names are people are names. If you don't name things, or if you do name things, that's can be a great violence.
Yeah.
For the reasons you noted and others, so.
Well, I think for us, one of the big things is that, the accurate mapping of neighborhood boundaries is essential for effective city planning, resource allocation, and community recognition. And when we don't have that, then things get muddied and things get lost.
Well, what Reverend Stevens used to say, that if it happened to a black person in the southeast San Diego, happened to a Mexican, it was Logan Heights, it could have been North Park.
Sure.
It's a racially specific determination. He really took a great initiative in cleaning that up to everybody's benefit.
Rodrigo, it's not clear to me where it's accurate and where it's not accurate. I'm having a hard time. I know there's an issue with the police map,
Sure.
which is not really related to planning, but where?
So if you look at the District 4 map, in the master city plan, they have, Hamish and Lomita, lumped together as well. And that's, I think this was sent to the group, and so if you look through so this is part of the council District 4 neighborhood heat map, and they have Lomita and Hamish lumped together.
Is your community plan accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Marlon, how would that work with a community plan in conflict with a master plan?
So as far, I think if you
Hold
go.
on.
So I'm not sure what the master plan, what you're referring to, but if this is the council district for him, and you're working with Henry Foster
Yeah.
on it, I would think that he would be able to adjust those neighborhood boundaries for the destination. They apply or have any direction on that? I'm not sure what the master plan is. Is it the council district?
Well, and it's a problem within maps, different maps in the city as well.
Yeah.
That are used that are inaccurate. So that's the problem, is that there are different maps that the city is using, and they're all kind of
You
inaccurate.
just want consistency across the board through all agencies, all departments.
Right, and I feel like, and I think that what we're trying to find is that if we can change the main ones, then the other ones will kind of go in line as well.
So it sounds like, to me, I'm just kind of to nutshell it a little bit, it does sound like this is a council member, Henry Foster, ultimate issue that he's gonna have to focus, but you guys have been trying to reach
I
out.
feel the problem is that we haven't been able to get a motion, them to make it a motion during a meeting to make it an issue.
In your own planning group?
No, within Henry Foster. So we haven't been able to get it during the council members meetings to be made a motion that would put that in.
So you're looking for support from the CPC as a whole to come and ask that we would help support you. As a citywide, we want our maps, all the maps throughout the city need to be corrected.
Yeah.
And so this is an example. So maybe your motion needs to be that the CPC would write correspondence to all city council members for that matter, for corrected maps, but in particular, using your situation as an example.
Question over there.
Review of map consistency.
Okay, a review of,
Where to focus on kind of stuff.
okay,
Something like that.
Dave, you did your, I don't think you've done, because maybe he could follow similar steps.
Ours was a much bigger deal because it's an actual planning group, planning area boundary change. But I think the better example is what City Heights got to do, where they in the 90s City Heights split up into like 17 different communities. They were really in on that process. And
Was it, and different surrounding community groups had to all agree on the new boundary or something?
well, in this case, I think City Heights just kind of went and asked for this early in the process of the police setting up the neighborhood boundaries, and they got what they wanted.
And then with.
Order, got a question over here.
Planning group? Well, I was asking you.
Madam Chair, who has the floor?
yes, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So Navajo had a problem with this, and we had an election. Boundary maps were in question. We had a board member who, depending on which map you look at, the city or the community plan, was either eligible for election or not, because the maps were incorrect. And Corey Funk told us, he's our representative, the city does not have official maps for neighborhoods. So it is a problem, it is an issue that needs addressing, and I would like to second that motion.
Okay, so your motion, did you have your motion specified? Can you read that out, or do I have it?
I think I can figure it out.
If you, yeah, I can maybe also bring that action. Victoria? Yes.
I have a quick question, comment, and I would like Encanto's answer. Do you want to be Encanto or do you want to be Joyos Valley? Joyos Valley. We should add that part of the map request.
Yeah, that's not part of this motion, so, I've got their motion, oh. Okay, of course, it went off again. Okay, I'm just gonna read the motion that they sent in earlier. Move that the Community Planners Committee endorses the JNC request for support memo and request the Planners Commission, Land Use and Housing and City Council add this matter to their agendas. All city departments and relative authorities are urged to immediately correct the District 4 key map SD blueprint and update all official maps to accurately reflect the name and boundaries of Jamacha community as specified in the Skyline Paradise Hills Community Plan, and to coordinate with the Jamacha Neighborhood Council Mapping and Boundary Committee and Chairperson Doreen Diaz-Pesta to ensure compliance and resolve issues caused by inaccurate mapping.
So I'd like to, motion that expanded to the whole city.
Okay.
And, since he's not a member of the board, then that's my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Vicki, second.
The Rancho Bernardo Community Planning Board did hear this item and we approved it at our last meeting.
Okay, great.
Same with the.
Yes, David.
I just want to say, in your letter, you could mention what Joyous Valley is kind of looking for and what City Heights did in the past. as
Okay.
Supporting evidence.
You didn't have much out for it, so.
No, but I thought Joyous Valley wants to be Joyous Valley, not Encanto.
We are Choice Valley, we just continue to call it.
I know, I'm just saying that bad ads out there get updated with those.
Yeah, I think we're gonna probably look at this and say citywide. So I think that's our main emphasis, that this is citywide and we can have examples of certain things that need to be corrected, but I'm sure there's more everywhere, so. A guy, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I got a little historic background on this. Number one, are you a member of the Skyline Paradise Hills Planning Committee?
No, I'm.
Why not? We have room for 20 people in that committee, and that's it, you know? And why this came directly to the CPC without going to the planning committee is beyond me. And I'd like to know, did you guys send a letter to our council representative? Or is this all oral conversations back and forth with his office?
With Henry Foster, I believe there was a letter sent, yes.
There was a letter sent?
I'm pretty sure there was a letter sent, yes.
Okay, because the planning group never got a copy of it. And the background of this, how this happened was, the police maps, which do not regard planning groups or neighborhoods specifically, happens to overlap. And their maps are the beat maps are entirely different. And then what happened was Sandag took the police beat maps and renamed them. That's what happened.
I think all the more reason for the city to produce
Yeah.
official guidelines on maps.
Okay, I'm gonna call it there because we've got one more item on the agenda, so, we have. Yeah, if it's, yeah, you're right.
So I brought this issue up many years ago at the planning department, discussed it with Marlon and Marianne. City's position was there's very big difference between the community and the neighborhood. Now, the gentleman here is using the community to be both terms. But the city made it clear that they do not get involved in neighborhood development. So for instance, Mission Hills, real estate agent, some will call this block Hillcrest, some call it Mission Hills and so forth. Uptown has 6 distinct neighborhoods, most communities don't. And I want to reiterate what Guy said, the police have an entirely different map. They have 152 neighborhoods. They call something Midtown, which is very different than what we call Middletown. The boundaries are entirely different. So I would also like to just say that I don't think there's an agenda item to make a recommendation on relabeling or rechanging all the neighborhoods in the entire city. I think that would be a much bigger topic than what's brought forward today. So I don't think this group should vote on the whole city, if it's not on the agenda. And if I sound a little irritated, it's because there's reasons behind a lot of this. Some communities are not split up into neighborhoods at all. Some have an informal neighborhood, like Burlingame is part of North Park or South Park. North Park, generally speaking, is not split up into neighborhoods. So in the past, communities defined their own neighborhoods. That's, I guess, what I'm standing up.
Okay, all right, thank you. With that, the motion is on the floor and is seconded. Is there any amend or change to the folks that made it? Okay. That,
Robert's Rule of Order to interrupt just for a second to expound on what he mentioned. I remember Navajo, I'm a community member of Navajo. There was an issue because they had to realign their boundaries for elections.
okay, I'm sorry,
But I think we studied MapQuest,
We're gonna-
House Brothers Guide, and some of the other local mapping to gain those boundaries. If that gives you insight, I don't know their opinion.
we're gonna go ahead because there's a motion on the table and it has been seconded. So, for time's sake, we're gonna go ahead and do the vote. Now, is anybody confused? Yes? Yes, the motion again. And I will read the one part of it, but then it's added to it, right?
Right.
Okay, so I need whoever is added to it to also read that. Is move that the Community Planners Committee endorses the J&C request for support memo. So it's, we're supporting, endorsing their memo and request that the Planning Commission, Land Use and Housing and City Council add this matter to their agendas. All city departments and relevant authorities are urged to immediately correct the District 4 key map, San Diego blueprint, and update all official maps to accurately reflect the name and boundaries of the Jamacha community as specified in the Skyline Paradise Hills Community Plan, and to coordinate with the Jamacha Neighborhood Council, Mapping and Boundary Committee, and Chairperson Doreen Diaz-Pesta to ensure compliance and resolve issues caused by inaccurate mapping. And then added, amended to that was to spread it to citywide.
Correct.
Okay, no, I think we're gonna go ahead and move forward with voting on this. We are on item 7. And I'll go ahead and start with Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto, City Heights,
Yes.
College Area,
Yes.
Del Mar Mesa. They still there?
On Zoom?
Zoom. We'll come back. Downtown,
Yes.
Eastern Area,
I'm gonna say no.
No?
There's too much other groundwork to do before we do this.
okay. Greater Golden Hill,
Yes.
Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
La Jolla,
I'm gonna recuse because this is coming before our whole group and the motion is citywide and I can't speak for citywide.
okay, Linda Vista,
I'm gonna say yes.
Mira Mesa,
Yes.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights.
Abstain.
Yeah.
Decline on the citywide aspect.
Okay, North Park,
Approve,
North Park,
approve,
approved, thank you. Okay, Ocean Beach,
Yes.
Otay Mesa,
I think I'm gonna abstain on the citywide.
okay. Pacific Beach,
yes,
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Rancho Penasquitos,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes, Sarah Mesa,
Yes.
Skyline Paradise Hills. Guy,
Yeah, go ahead, yes.
okay, Tierra Santa, Torrey Pines,
Yes.
University,
Yes.
and Uptown.
Due to the nature of us having 6 neighborhoods in Uptown, I'm going to have to abstain, I think.
Abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you all very much. The motion does pass. Thank you
Thank you.
very much, Rodrigo. Okay.
This
Uh,
is Delmar. This is Delmar.
Oh, did you miss Delmar?
Yeah,
Delmar?
yeah, Delmar votes no.
Are you voting in yes? Voting
No.
yes? No?
Yes.
I got a no on that. All right. I'm not sure if, La Jolla, Association for the City of La Jolla is on Zoom. Do you see? anyone?
Yes.
Oh, you are, okay.
Yes, we are.
You have the floor. I don't think we have.
What?
Is this Diane?
No.
No, my name is Ed Witt. I'm the vice president. Diane is currently in Japan. And I know, Victoria, she's spoken to you about
Yes.
what we would like you to help us with.
Okay, and so just so you know, we're running very much behind. So if you can nutshell this as much as possible, we would appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll be very brief. As you know, the CPC provides a citywide forum for the chairs of all the community planning groups to discuss development, infrastructure, and other planning issues that affect multiple neighborhoods. We urge you to support our transparent, fact-driven analysis by LAFCO to determine whether incorporation is fiscally neutral and in the public interest. This process by statute protects community members in La Jolla and the city of San Diego. So basically, as you know, the Association for the City of La Jolla is working with LAFCO to see if La Jolla separating from the city of San Diego would be of the benefit to La Jolla and the entire city of San Diego. State law says it has to be revenue neutral, and we're looking for your support for the city to allow that to not appeal the judge's ruling. I'm sure you know the judge ruled Friday of last week that our anti-SLAPP motion was approved. And so the city was instructed to withdraw their lawsuit against LAFCO so that we could proceed with the process.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Do we have any quick questions for Ed? I think it's pretty clear by the description on the amended agenda. It says the request is asking the CPC to advise the mayor and city council against pursuing further legal action in the matter of the anti-SLAPP lawsuit involving the Association of the City of La Jolla due to anticipated taxpayer costs. Ed, would that be a sufficient information for making a motion?
I'll make that.
Okay, so we'll go ahead. David is making that motion.
And I'll make one comment.
Okay.
The city requires us to use like gym membership cards for voters in our planning group elections, and they're objecting to inappropriate abbreviations. I think they're being hypocritical.
Okay, do I have a second to David's motion?
I second.
Eastern gotcha already, so David and then Eastern. All right, any other questions, or we can move on to the vote? Yes, sir.
The description by the presenter seemed to me quite different than the motion or the noticed item. The motion that Mr. Moty made was consistent with the notice for the meeting, but the apparent expectation of the presenter was more expansive.
Okay, are you hearing that, Ed?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear what he said? He's saying that your description was more expansive. But the question I would have then for you is, would you know, is this what you're looking to receive from CPC, which is what I stated as the motion that David.
Well, yeah, basically what we're asking of CPC is to support the transparency that we're involved in and to save the city money and let the LAFCO process, which is a state statute process, go forward. I put in the text an idea of what that letter might look like. And you could take a look at that and you could, you know, do whatever you want with it. But basically, we want the city to not waste time and money and allow LAFCO to do their work.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a clarifying question. You're asking that the city not exercise its right to appeal an adverse ruling?
Well, you know, the city could appeal, but it's only, they're not gonna win on appeal. All it's gonna do is involve more legal costs, and the city will have to reimburse us. They're already gonna have to reimburse us for well over $100,000. So basically, we're trying to save the city money and just let, I mean, LAFCO has a process. Ultimately, it'll be up to the voters, not only of La Jolla, but of the entire city of San Diego. And that only comes to play if LAFCO says this makes sense. So we're asking the city to not interfere anymore because it's kind of a waste of money.
I'm sorry, is the next level of review a three judge panel of the California Court of Appeal?
No, there's no appeal been made at this point.
But you're asking that the city not exercise its right to go there?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this up to David if he wants to continue with the original motion that I received from Diane.
Stick with the original motion.
Okay,
I'm not gonna second. She's got a good point about the right to appeal.
okay, the
She hasn't said
motion,
it yet, but I'm open to that argument.
Well, I mean, as I said earlier, when I was working with you on an earlier motion, and it would be just too rich with irony, I'm an appellate lawyer. And so you can't fight for one side to have its rights and then to not allow the city to have its right to appeal. So fundamentally, I'm conflicted. I totally understand why this presenter would want to block an appeal, but fundamentally it's problematic when you're asking for symmetry.
I don't think we have any interest in blocking the appeal. I think what we're asking is that you request that the city decide not to appeal. But by no way are we saying they shouldn't. Basically, though, I think what we're really asking is that you urge the city to support the LAFCO process and to just let it go through. But in no way would we have an interest in stopping the city from appealing if they chose to do so. In fact, if they choose to do that, it's almost a benefit to us because it means that likely they will owe us significantly more money.
so I just want to reiterate, when I was asked to put this on the agenda and amend the agenda, it was specifically due to taxpayer money being spent.
Right.
That from a city that is strapped for cash.
That's
and it was
correct.
really basically behind not what your opinion is on LAFCO. That's not what I was thinking when we put this together. It was specifically asking the city to not continue spending money in this particular case.
That's correct.
In essence, that also says, let the process go forward, but so
Exactly.
that's why I put the motion the way I did, to keep it simplistic, because we're looking at taxpayer money as the issue, not La Jolla.
That's
being the
correct.
issue.
Correct, yes.
So,
Always my motion as is. We'll see if there's a second.
okay, so there's the motion for what I read about it not doing taxpayer costs. Eastern, you rescinded that second. So is there a second on this motion?
Peninsula.
Peninsula? Okay. All right. We are gonna go ahead, if there's any other comments now that we have a second. If not, we're gonna go ahead.
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So did the city appeal after LAFCO? Like, could LAFCO do its job and then like the city appeal that at that point, or is that not really?
No, because it doesn't have to, this is strictly for us saying, don't spend taxpayer money by doing an appeal. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go, this is item number 8. I'm gonna start with Carmel Valley.
Yes.
Encanto.
Yeah.
City Heights.
Abstain.
Abstain?
Yes.
Okay, abstain or no? Abstain? If abstain, why are you?
I'm going to abstain. I don't have enough information to make a confident decision.
Okay, great. College area?
No.
Del Mar Mesa.
Abstain.
And your reason?
That I don't have enough information.
Okay,
And that the author or demand, because you put your finger on it, is whether we're going to tell the city, give them legal advice.
okay. All right, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead downtown.
I'm gonna abstain. We've not discussed it with any group.
Okay, eastern area.
No.
Greater Golden Hill.
Abstain, the motion is clear, but I think the expansion of expectation is muddied it.
The, okay,
They said we shouldn't interfere with the process of determining the split, that was not what was on the agenda, or was spoken.
well, we're voting what's on the agenda.
I know, I understand that, but
Okay,
the expectation of the presenter is apparently going to be profoundly disappointed if it prevails.
okay. Kensington Talmadge.
Yes.
La Jolla,
Yes.
Linda Vista.
It's a process issue, no.
Okay, Mira Mesa. Navajo,
Sarah Mason, no. Oh,
not there yet, almost. Normal Heights,
Yes.
North Park.
No,
Sorry, North Park, speak up, please.
no, for the same reason it's a process decision.
Okay, Ocean Beach.
No.
Okay, Otay Mesa.
No.
All right. Pacific Beach,
Yes.
Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo.
Abstain, our board hasn't discussed it.
Okay, Rancho Penasquitos. Scripps Ranch, yes. Sarah Mesa,
no, sorry, I heard the wrong Mesa earlier.
no worries. Skyline Paradise Hill,
No.
Tierra Stana,
No.
Torrey Pines,
No.
University,
No.
and Uptown.
No.
Okay, I'm guessing the nose. Okay, 15 no's, so yeah, 8 to 15, so the motion does not pass. Okay, thank you very much. We are almost done. We're gonna be really quick here. Thank you all for being patient and dealing with a quick meeting, getting through these things. Staff report, Marlon.
I'll be really quick, just a quick update on some of our work program items. Citywide Trails Master Plan, we are seeking funding from Caltrans in November for this. The Inclusive Public Engagement Guide is going to be presented to the City Rules Committee on November 19 as an informational item. Choice Creek Watershed Regional Park Master Plan, we are submitting for funding for a Prop A application. And again, if you want more details, please contact me. I'll put you in touch with the proper staff person in my department. Infrastructure priorities, you guys put those projects together for us. Input was shared with the city decision makers, including asset management departments. In September, they can be viewed on an interactive map on the city's website. The asset managing departments will now review and consider the proposed priorities. And to include in the city's capital improvement program 5-year outlook. Let's see, what else? Annual report on homes is going to Planning Commission as an information item on October 30th, talking about the number of houses we've permitted and affordable housing units and ADUs and all that good stuff. And then the last thing is just to let you know, the city planning department reorganized. We do have a new housing policy and environmental analysis division. So housing, which was part of community planning, is now merged with environmental analysis. And community planning now includes mobility planning, which were part of SUMO, or the Sustainability and Mobility Department. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Marlon. Chair's report very quickly. Felicity and I met with the planning department director Heidi Von Bloom and Marlon on Friday. We had a half an hour meeting, but it turned into an hour. It went really well. Felicity and I we discussed a lot of things. But in particular, I just wanted to point out what we did discuss. We discussed relationship with CPGs and the planning, the individual planners for those CPGs, and very specific, you know, how much can they contribute to planning group attendance. And I'm gonna go quick. I can give you more details. In fact, what I'll do is send this out to everybody, but just because of time. We also discussed ministerial projects and CPC advocacy in those ministerial projects. And we talked about the DSD policy and document access. And we were able to give her our direct email, our correspondence from back in July, and the latest one we did for Pacific Beach, was it? We handed those to her directly, and she opened it up to these types of issues for CPC chair to be able to directly email her with these and carbon copy Marlon. So she's gonna be working at looking those through and seeing what types of things she can affect and what she can't affect. The main thing we're trying to do is get a communication line open directly with the planning department. And if it means us talking to them and hopefully maybe meeting on occasion, we want to try to create a better communication. So we're working at doing that from the top, and we'll continue to pursue that. But all to say, we felt that the meeting went really well, and we're gonna really, you know, keep taking this group's major concerns to them and see if we can get some openness to accepting what's happening here and seeing some results in the planning department. So with that, if there's any member comments, otherwise it's late, so I'd love to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Did I do that? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.